Hey folks, I'm Tom Moore with Remax Nova here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Today we're going to be doing a quick overview on what the real crime stats are here in Halifax. So stay tuned for that and we'll get right to it. All right, so today we are going to be referencing Numbeo in terms of their crime stats, as well as some stuff from the Government of Canada, and I'll be giving my perspective as we kind of move along here, okay? So starting off with Numbeo, the crime rates in Canada, the level of crime is considered to be moderate in Halifax. Crime increasing in the past 3 years is at 67, so that's high. Now, if you look at Canada, as what the Government of Canada has put out over the last 10 years, crime has actually decreased about 28%. Now, this is a 2018 stat, but this is kind of some of the more recent data that I could find. And still to this day, Halifax overall, it's like any big city, you've got the port and you do have some crime, but you kind of have to go looking for it, if you know what I mean, right? Like, again, Halifax, and we'll get back to these Numbeo stats, the walking during the day, safety, walking alone during daylight is at 83 or very, very high. And safety walking alone during night is at 46.5 or moderate. However, I mean, and you know, I'm obviously a guy, I'm confident and comfortable in the city, but I have no problem really walking anywhere at night. You know, back when I was, you know, around 2008, 2010 even, and before that, Halifax was definitely a little bit rougher in certain areas than it is now. And I think the city has really taken steps to address some of this crime. But again, you're gonna still run into some of that stuff throughout every big city. So some other indicators: worries that home will be broken into and things stolen is low. Worries being mugged or robbed, low. I really don't know anybody who's been mugged in Halifax, quite frankly, and I've lived here my whole life. Worries car stolen. We don't really have anybody stealing cars out here. Sometimes you'll get your catalytic converter ripped off, which has become more popular, I think, now that the supply chains are tight. I think that's a thing everywhere, but getting your car stolen, I've never really heard of that. And again, both of those are considered low. So worried about getting mugged or robbed and worried about car stolen, both low. Worries things from car getting stolen. Now that's a bit of a different story. So that's moderate. A lot of places around the city, you lock your doors when you, of your cars, if you're parking outside. Not a lot of people out here have garages, especially on the peninsula of Halifax. So you always lock your doors because if you leave them unlocked, they might get what my dad calls rifled through, where people will steal, you know, whatever change. I mean, people don't really have change anymore, but you definitely want to lock your doors. Again, people aren't smashing windows generally getting in the car, but it's something to kind of be aware of. While we just have a second here, if you're enjoying this content, then please subscribe, leave a like and a comment down below if you're from Halifax and have noticed any crime. Obviously, everybody's going to have different perspectives and whatnot, but you know, if you like and get a bit more of this content, you'll learn a bit more about what Halifax is really like, and it'll also help me reach other people who are thinking about making a move here, might want some information on what Halifax is really like. Okay, worries about being attacked, low. Definitely still worried, or you know, not worried about getting attacked. Like every city during the pandemic, I think we've seen a rise in certain populations that are out on the streets, and sometimes there's mental health aspects associated with these populations. Personally, I've seen a bit of a different feel, especially this past summer, in terms of, you know, there's some people not from Halifax that have clearly moved here, that it's just a different feeling than maybe in previous summers. We do get this every single summer as the city, you know, blooms. It's nice weather out here, everything. And in the winter, usually some of those more, I don't know if you want to call them aggressive individuals, but it has changed over the last year. However, I'm still, you know, it's people that you can pretty easily avoid. They've clearly got some mental health issues. You don't have to worry about, like, you know, gangs coming after you or anything like that. Worries about being insulted, low. Again, worries about being attacked, low, right? So these are all still very low. They're in the 30s out of 100. Worries about being subject to a physical attack because of skin color, ethnic origin, gender, or religion. This is 20 at very low. So again, you really don't have to worry about that. Whatever your creed, background, anything, beliefs, you don't have to worry about getting assaulted based on those parameters out here, that's for sure. Problem with people using or dealing drugs, 55, moderate. Again, we've seen, you don't have like needles lying on the sidewalk as far as I know. Obviously in certain very micro areas you may find that, but you know, we don't have this problem of people really out on the streets. Very rarely you'll see it. And again, I think it's just, we've seen more unfortunate situations where people are suffering from addiction issues. We're not immune to that in this city as well, right? But it's not on the level of some of these other cities, I'll say that. Problem property crimes such as vandalism and theft, 47, so moderate. Yeah, I mean, you know, when I was younger, our house had been broken into a couple times. Haven't heard of too much of that as of late. So, you know, I think overall that's getting better for sure. Problem violent crimes such as assault and armed robbery. So that's 41, moderate. Doesn't happen very often at all. And I think when it does happen, it happens usually at like a gas station at like 1 a.m, and it happens, you know, once every month or two or whatever. It's very rare, and it's not like people are coming in there with guns. Problem with corruption and bribery. That's ranking at 33 or low. So this gives you kind of a general idea for what Halifax is like. I would say that, you know, overall, very safe city, the feeling of a very safe city. But again, like every city, we do have our little problems. But if you want, check the Government of Canada sites, all that stuff. We rank consistently pretty below. I think last time it was like 8% or 4% below what the national average is. And when it comes to these like murder and ultra violent crime, the only people that are really most of the time affected by that, obviously there's different cases for each situation, but generally it's within closed, you know, situations. So somebody who knows somebody else and whatnot, and maybe something occurred in their relationship which caused somebody to get killed. But again, it's very rare, and it's not like you have to worry about walking down the street and getting mugged or anything crazy like that. It's a very safe city out here. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this quick little summary of kind of the crime stats and what crime is really like in Halifax. I hope you enjoyed my perspective. I've been here, you know, a long time, and although I'm still, you know, relatively young, I guess, on the scale of things, yeah, I've definitely seen, both from my parents' perspective and my own perspective, that, you know, prior to 2010, Halifax definitely had a different vibe, and now with this newfound wealth, newfound immigration into the city, you're really seeing a lot of that more, whatever, violent crime, whatever you may want to call it, taking a decline. However, again, as we've seen throughout the pandemic in a lot of these larger cities, we have seen a bit of an uptick of maybe potentially mental health issues or addiction issues that you're seeing in certain areas of the city. But without further ado, hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to tune in next week and leave a like down below. That lets me know that I'm still making that good content, and we'll see you on the next video.